The streets of Los Angeles in the 1980s bore witness to the emergence of a new breed of gang, one born out of the turmoil of civil war and displacement. This was Mara Salvatrucha, or MS-13 as it would come to be known. Formed by Salvadoran refugees fleeing the violence in their homeland, Mississippi, 13 quickly gained notoriety for its brutality and ruthlessness. They carved out their territory in the shadows of American cities, engaging in petty crime and violent turf wars. As the gang grew, so did its reach. MS-13 spread its tentacles back to El Salvador, taking root in the fertile ground of poverty, corruption and social unrest. The country, still reeling from the aftershocks of a brutal civil war, proved to be an ideal breeding ground for the gang's brand of violence and intimidation. With each passing year, Mississippi, 13, tightened its grip on El Salvador. They infiltrated communities, preyed on the vulnerable, and established a reign of fear that permeated every level of society. The gang's influence was inescapable, a dark cloud hanging over the nation's future. MS-13's operations in El Salvador are a toxic blend of brutality and entrepreneurial zeal. They are involved in a wide range of criminal activities, from drug trafficking and extortion to human smuggling and murder. Their tactics are designed to instill fear and obedience, ensuring the cooperation of local populations too terrified to resist. Extortion is the lifeblood of MS-13, a steady stream of income extracted from businesses and individuals alike. Shopkeepers are forced to pay protection money, families are threatened with violence if they don't comply, and entire communities are held hostage to the gang's demands. Those who resist are met with swift and brutal retribution. Drug trafficking is another lucrative revenue stream for MS-13. They control key smuggling routes, moving narcotics from South America to the United States. The profits from these operations fuel the gang's expansion, allowing them to purchase weapons, corrupt officials, and further tighten their grip on power. The violence perpetrated by MS-13 is not limited to rival gangs or those who defy them. Innocent civilians are often caught in the crossfire, victims of indiscriminate attacks designed to send a message. The gang's reign of terror has left a trail of bloodshed and trauma, scarring the social fabric of El Salvador. In response to the escalating violence and the pervasive fear gripping the nation, the Salvadoran government, under the leadership of President Nayib Bukele, has taken a hardline stance against MS-13. A state of emergency was declared, granting authorities sweeping powers to arrest suspected gang members and detain them without trial. The centerpiece of Bukele's mano dura, or iron fist approach, is the construction of a massive new prison, the Center for the Confinement of Terrorism, CECOT. This sprawling complex, built to house tens of thousands of inmates, has been touted as a symbol of the government's resolve to crush MS-13 and restore order to the country. The conditions inside CECOT have been widely condemned by human rights groups. Inmates are packed into overcrowded cells, deprived of basic necessities and subjected to harsh treatment. Reports of abuse, torture and inadequate medical care have emerged, raising serious concerns about the human cost of Bukele's crackdown. While the government maintains that these measures are necessary to combat the threat posed by MS-13, critics argue that they are eroding civil liberties and creating a climate of fear. The long-term effectiveness of these policies remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the fight against MS-13 has come at a steep price. The United States has played a significant role in shaping the gang crisis in El Salvador. Over the years, various policies and actions have had unintended consequences, often exacerbating the situation. For example, the mass deportations of gang members from the US back to El Salvador in the 1990s and early 2000s contributed to the growth and organization of gangs like MS-13 and Barrio 18. These deportations created a cycle of violence and instability that continues to affect the region today. Additionally, US aid and military support during the civil war in El Salvador laid the groundwork for the social and economic conditions that allowed gangs to thrive. It's important to understand this historical context when discussing potential solutions to the current crisis. Addressing the gang crisis in El Salvador requires a multifaceted approach that respects human rights and promotes long-term stability. Efforts to combat gangs must go beyond punitive measures and include social programs that address the root causes of gang membership, such as poverty, lack of education, and limited economic opportunities. International cooperation and support are also crucial in providing the resources and expertise needed to implement effective solutions. By focusing on human rights and sustainable development, there is hope for a future where the cycle of violence can be broken and communities can thrive in peace and security.